Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Lounging with Lisa, the video series that has me lounging while coming at you with thoughts of the day. I was told, I think if you follow my videos, my friend Mick had told me that I sometimes sound just a smidge Republican in my statements and so forth. And then somebody in a comment section the other day on the Tom Hartman show said, Lisa, I don't know if they said it like that, it was written, Lisa, why is it that you're always taking the Democrats to task but not the Republicans? Don't you have anything to say about that? And I replied that, it's like swinging at low-hanging fruit, in my opinion. I guess maybe somewhere deep in the recesses of my mind, I expect a little bit more out of the Democratic Party, but no longer. So I thought right now I would take a moment, or maybe 3 or 4, possibly 5, to bloviate a bit about the Republican Party and what has gone hideously wrong with them. There used to be a time in our lives, in the world, on the planet, when Republicans were fairly decent individuals. This would have been like your Eisenhower Republican. Why in the world these people don't latch on to Eisenhower for more of a hero than they do that ridiculous Ronald Reagan is beyond me. I don't know. I don't get it. I think that Eisenhower was a better Republican, for heaven's, more along the lines of what that party was all about. But pardon me. Yeah, here's the thing with the Republicans. They have, and from what I can gather, I think they have some sort of victim complex, and they think that they are somehow downtrodden or picked on, or I'm not really sure what the case is or how to describe this, but I think it goes along with a lot of their religious beliefs. There's been studies that have been conducted in the last few years here in the US of A that Christians literally feel they are persecuted, which really takes away from the actual persecution that goes on against Christians in other lands. And it it almost trivializes it, so I think that's sort of bad news. And plus, it's a part of their belief to think that they will be persecuted. Jesus mentioned this, and it's sort of just a running theme. But the thing with Republicans, what they've become, I guess, is reactionary to the max. And they really, really are into dividing left, right, left, right, left, right, and demonizing the so-called liberal segment of society. And honestly, the thing about them, though, that I have to admire is they don't hide their hideous behavior. It's not like they pretend, well, they kind of pretend to be on the side of the people and getting government out of our lives, which I do like that idea, ladies and gentlemen, but getting government out of our lives is not really stipulating all kinds of stuff about reproductive rights and gay marriage and all these stupid wedge issues they seem to cling to desperately. Here's Mars. To keep things divided up. I think if the Republican Party were more, I guess, like their charter says, or like they used to be, it would be fine, because you'd have fiscal conservatism, which would be more along the lines of your libertarian thinkers like Ron Paul and Rand Paul, who don't like this intervention stuff and being in all these bases all over the joint and spending all of our money really to keep the military-industrial complex going. So I think this is where they've gone wrong, is that they're not fiscally conservative. Give me a break. My goodness, Donald Trump gets in there and wants to increase military spending by some really astronomical percentage. That is not being fiscally conservative, ladies and gentlemen. It's certainly not putting America first. So they really go against everything they sort of mention on the campaign trail is a bunch of, malarkey, same as the Democrats, but right now, remember, I'm sticking to the Republicans. Also, they claim to be against big government interfering and authority-type figures, which I do like that part of it. However, I don't know. I think they do lean authoritarian. They do, and I think a lot of that might have to do with, I guess Republicans are kind of associated with being more of your religious types. giving yourself over to a deity and I guess following everything said deity wants you to do is really falling in line with authoritarianism. And I've said this before. I think it would be wonderful if everybody would pretty much follow the teachings of Jesus, the peaceful teachings, and helping the poor and feeding the neighbor and sorry, all that stuff. But they seem to get hung up on almost like the God of the Old Testament stuff, gods of the Old Testament, because there are several in there, ladies and gentlemen, if you really study it with an open mind. Yeah, so I guess for me, the reason why I tend to maybe pick on Democrats more is maybe deep down somewhere I expected a little bit more out of them, but no longer will I do so. And I think the Republicans are just an absolute lost cause. I mean, they have pulled the Overton window so far to the right that, excuse me, with their reactionary, I call them reactionaries, the reactionary wing, that people like George W. Bush, a war criminal, come on, let's be honest with ourselves, is considered to be okay now. You know, the liberals kind of like him now. It's just what we've gotten used to is just beyond the pale. And, you know, they always want to, well, keep these conflicts going to enrich the military-industrial complex, which Eisenhower stated that, and of course I'm not going to be able to quote him correctly at all, but he basically said that every dollar that goes to this machinery of war is a dollar that's taken away from a homeless person, a poor person, somebody who needs it here in the United States. Of course, then we have the infrastructure that's crumbling. It's really insane. So, as far as Republicans, I think that most all of them, there's a few exceptions to every rule, of course, and there's also local Republicans that are fairly decent. But once you get to the upper echelons of government, everybody's owned, and they have just gone so reactionary. And of course, I lay a lot of that at the feet of Fox News, with really misinformation they put out over the years. Some things they've said are on target, but they just really, let me give you, I don't know, sort of an example before I sign off of this blather. Hold on, I need a sip. It's way back here, ladies and gentlemen. Good land. All right. I also think that some Republicans are more apt to be in love with their party more so than Democrats, but I could be wrong. I see a lot of this party loyalty ruining our lives on both sides, all sides, whatever. I'm trying to show off my necklace. Yeah, so, for example, I mean, I remember on Facebook when President Obama was in office, every other day, every other minute, really, there was some ridiculous meme of him golfing, you know, during a major catastrophe unfolding here in the United States, like flooding in one area. It showed him driving a golf cart through the flooding. They got on him about his vacations, everything. Donald Trump has spent, I forget how many more times the money than Obama did. He's always golfing. He's always at Mar-a-Lago. He's always spending the money to go down there, blah, blah, blah. And we hear not a word from these people because they're so loyal to their ridiculous party. And then, just something kind of silly, I guess, as I was talking to somebody the other day who shall remain nameless, and he or she said that what a sharp dresser Melania was or something, and they were kind of looking down on Michelle Obama for going sleeveless. And I said, my goodness, I would do that if I had the arms. You know, I feel insecure about my chubby arms, ladies and gentlemen, but if I had her arms, I would go sleeveless. And the person said, well, there is a time for sleeveless and there's a time for sleeves or something. Like it was inappropriate for her to go sleeveless. Yeah, it's okay. And I'm not shaming Melania for this, but I'm just showing the hypocrisy. It's okay for her to, you know, pose totally nude and, you know, be involved with some interesting poses with other women and all that stuff. That's totally fine. Just don't go sleeveless. Okay. That's it. The Republicans have really, it's shown their blatant hypocrisy. And the real ardent evangelicals that supported Donald Trump have really shown that they're, you know, it's just, they're shameless. They don't, how anybody could think Donald Trump is some super representative of Christian beliefs is beyond me. The man doesn't even admit that he's ever asked God for forgiveness. That's the basic tenet of Christianity, ladies and gentlemen, is admitting that you're a sinner and asking for forgiveness. He has not done this, yet he's some evangelical king. All right, my God, I've gone 10 minutes. Signing off, Lounging with Lisa. The video series that has me lounging while coming at you thoughts of the day. See you soon.